Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with CartLaw Alabama. Hi, I'm Daryl Cartwright, an attorney in Birmingham, Alabama. I principally practice business law. I do a lot of business law planning, work with them in contracts, do estate planning, tax work, corporate work of all types, and some tax and business litigation. But one area that I don't practice in is what we're going to talk about today, and that's at least one aspect of criminal law. I think that it's important for everybody to have a good basic understanding of some elements of criminal law, and I'm not going to try to talk to you today about that, but I do try to introduce that to my business law students that I teach at the university. And for today, I wanted to talk about a couple of interesting little tidbits, a little I call it criminal law chicanery. Things that don't come up all that often, but I think you might find interesting. I've broken this down into two parts because I'm going to keep this kind of short today. The first one that I want to talk about today is part one of two, the R. Kelly saga. R. Kelly, also known as Robert Kelly, but more commonly known as R. Kelly, is a very famous R&B singer and very wealthy. And for years, there had been rumors concerning sexual activities with underage women, forced sexual activities, things of that nature. And the authorities really hadn't been successful in touching him, in capturing him until recently. What does he have in common today with El Chapo, Joaquin Guzman Lora, the Mexican drug lord? What does he have in common with Joshua Binder, the leader of the Hells Angels? What he has in common with those and with various members of mafia mob bosses is he has been found guilty and convicted of the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. Now, RICO is an interesting statute because you see it in both criminal law and civil law. It has penalties for civil sanctions as well as criminal sanctions as well. And I'm not going to try to make anybody a RICO expert, and I'm certainly not a RICO expert, but I did want to talk about a couple of important tidbits so that you kind of see how this worked in R. Kelly's case. RICO requires a criminal enterprise, and you'll see in a minute a pattern of racketeering activity. And a lot of experts believe that it's actually easier to convict someone like a mob boss, like an R. Kelly, with RICO than some of the underlying predicate acts. And the reason for that is it kind of accumulates. I've seen it called a death by 1,000 cuts. And that's generally what happened here. RICO requires a criminal enterprise. And in R. Kelly's case, the criminal enterprise was deemed to be all of the people that helped him, his managers and aides, recruit women, girls, underage girls, I should say, and to help promote his music and his brand and require them to engage in illegal sexual activity. RICO also required, as I mentioned a minute ago, a pattern of racketeering activity connected to that enterprise. And the statute actually defines 35 different offenses, and some of them are what you probably think would be you'd expect to see there, murder, bribery, things of that nature. But there are also some other ones like kidnapping, illegal sexual activity, mail and wire fraud. You'll see a lot in some white collar type RICO convictions, etc. And in R. Kelly's case, they included kidnapping and the illegal sexual activity, among other things. He was found guilty on all 9 counts of sex trafficking and racketeering on September 27th of 2021, and he's going to be sentenced on May 4th of next year. After that time, he actually has two more cases, one of them in Chicago, involving other violations, other criminal actions. The Chicago case is deemed to be the most serious, involving child pornography charges and more severe penalties. However, uh, the government is expected to ask for at least 20 years for the RICO conviction alone that occurred September 27th. So that's how R. Kelly, the rhythm and blues singer, became or was convicted and shares things in common with mafia family mob bosses. In any event, I hope you found this interesting. I've got a good part two that I think you'll find a little bit humorous. It's a serious subject, but I think you'll find it a little bit humorous and hopefully just as interesting as well. You have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next time.